And here we are, once again, for another live show. Hey everyone, welcome aboard. Looks good. Looks good. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is the first Shortwave show for 2018. And I'm starting off with no beer, Coca-Cola. There's not even alcohol in here. It's just Coca-Cola. So cheers everyone. And I will explain why. And it's not because I drank too much, as it was actually pretty relaxed in the holiday season. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave show. We are here every Fridays at 2000 hours UTC. There's a few changes coming to the schedule for those that didn't see my post of my live shows and the schedule of the live shows. So welcome aboard, and of course this is the first show of a new year. And with the tradition of YouTube, the new year starts with crappy monetization, which is very horrible. But anyways, welcome aboard everybody. Happy to be here. Been kind of cool to see. Been cool to take it easy a little bit and relax. So really nice to have all of you on board. Right now I'm on radio Spain, Radio Exterior de España or something like that. Well, actually it's more of Spanish National Radio or something. So Happy New Year everybody, welcome aboard. This is a show where we talk about radio, we have fun with radio, we listen and tune to radio. Of course this is the SDR, that the Fedry SDR that I'm using on the big screen TV right now. Today's show will be a little shorter because I have one last engagement of Christmas holiday season. Basically, I have some friends. Going with a restaurant with some friends later on today. So hopefully that's that'll be all of the holiday stuff, and we'll put all of that behind. So hello everybody, and nice to have all of you here. There's a great chat room for those that don't know. If you have a Gmail account, you can join the chat room, talk with a lot of people, and just have a lot of fun. And great people that answer questions, and you can of course ask your own questions also. So hello there, David Arden, nice to have you here. Richard Cook, nice to have you here, and happy birthday in advance for your birthday on Sunday. Pretty cool. What do we have? Juan Amigo, nice to have you here. Jack Belts, nice to have you here. Luis Arevalo, nice to have you on board. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. Jerry, Happy New Year. Fabrice Simonet, bienvenue, welcome. Jack Belts retired on Tuesday. Well, I hope you you enjoy your time now, enjoy life. It's time to just, take care of yourself and your family. Neil Thumes, nice to have you here. N-Lewis65, nice to have you on board. Bram, nice to have you here from VA2XE, and pretty cool to have you here. Alexander Marks, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. PLF Radio from France, Happy New Year. The Vaults from Latvia, nice to have you on board. So no, actually, for the live shows on the tech show, they were starting next week, because Tuesday was, January 2nd. It was still very close, and thank God, because I'll explain all of that a little. What happened? Jerry, nice to have you here. Gerard Dicker, nice to have you on board. iMapper is in Washington DC, nice to have you here. And it's pretty cool, on vacation. That is a change from Moscow. And I saw you were complaining it was really cold. Well, come to Montreal, you'll see what cold is. We had some really cold weather, and today it's amazingly cold also. It's like minus 20 right now, minus 20 Celsius. But it's really windy, so with the wind chill, it's equivalent to minus 35, what we have right now. So it gives you guys an idea of how cold it is. What else do we have? Bobby Burgess, Ethan Bass, nice to have you here. Free Saxon, nice to have you here. Tension mounts as we wait the host. So pretty cool to have everybody on board for a new year of shows. And that's pretty nice to, of course, be here for another year. This is going to be like, I don't know, like our 4th year of shows or something like that. Incredible how time flies. I mean, you know, thinking that it's been like 4 years now that I've been doing live shows. Seems like it was yesterday that I started for the first time. So cheers with my Coca-Cola, which I never drink actually. This is leftover bottles of Coke that was in the fridge from the Christmas holiday. And what I do is I drink them all so that there's no more left for the rest of the year. Because I don't usually drink this stuff. And it's a little flat right now. What else do we have? What else? Yeah, Christmas is finished. But you know, there's always these leftover things because there's always the friends that you try to meet, but they're like, well, in the holiday season it's impossible. I want to be in town, or you know, it's too complicated. So you know, you do it a little before or a little bit after. So tonight is the last Christmas gathering, I guess, with friends downtown at a restaurant, and so it's kind of a New Year thing. Just, you know, we haven't seen each other in a long time too. So it's kind of cool to have everybody here. So what else do we have? Yeah, we're all a little heavier than last week, probably. You know, I actually took my weight on January 2nd, and I was at 217 pounds. I usually am more around 210, 212. So it's like, yeah, okay, you know, and I had so much food on the holiday, it was just crazy. And, you know, drinking this sugary stuff isn't helping out. But I am in a state of now, you know, trying to lose weight. I want to lose like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Feel a little better also at the same time. Why do you get so many shortwave stations come? I get nothing, you get zero. Well, you know what, Luis, that's the thing. It's a question of a mix of a lot of things. I get that question very often. You know, why? How come I don't get all the stations you get? And it's a question of your location. There are locations that are more difficult for shortwave. I mean, there's not that many broadcasts for the western part of North America, for example, or Australia. So depending on where you are, it's a little more difficult than others. There's the noise. The biggest problem with shortwave is the noise. For most people that tell me I got almost nothing on my radio, often it's the noise level. You don't necessarily see it. And I mean, when everywhere it's the same noise, you kind of just hear static. And for a lot of people, it's like, well, I hear the static, but you don't realize that that static, that noise is so high that it's washing out everything that you could listen to. Location, you know, with whether you're inside a building or outside in a great wide open, a park or something, it's very different. But there's a lot of different factors, and there are some regions in the world where shortwave broadcasts, you know, one of the biggest things and one of the biggest problems of North America also as a whole is, you know, thank God there's WRMI relaying some stations, because when stations stop broadcasting to your area, so for example, most major broadcasters have stopped transmitting to North America. That means they're still on the air, but there's more difficult to listen to. So, you know, listening to Vatican Radio, for example, listening to Radio France, they don't have a North American service. They used to. They don't anymore. So that means you're listening to them but they're targeting another area of the world. The signal level that you get here is much weaker than when they're targeting towards you. So all of that together makes it more difficult to listen to. And you know, the antenna, having an outside antenna of some sort helps. But I get that a lot. You know, how come you get all these stations and I don't? Here, you know, I'm a very high noise location, but for some reason I also have a good receiving and you know, my antenna's performing okay even though it picks up a lot of noise. So there's like the signal to noise ratio, as we call it, is still good enough for me to still get stations. But if you guys have watched my videos from when I go to Perry Island where noise is almost zero, you can see that, wow, Perry Island is DX heaven. I mean, if I had that type of reception here, I would listen 100 times more to shortwave because there'd be so much things to listen to. And when you're not in the target area, well, you got to live with the fact that signals are weaker, unfortunately. Ethel Welsh, nice to have you here. Happy New Year. Absolutely. Rob Webster, nice to have you on board. Mike DX, hello there. Happy New Year. Radioactive, nice to have you here. Pretty nice to have everybody on board. It's nice to see all the familiar names coming back. It's really, really cool. Ernie Turner, hello there. Expecting 39 Celsius in Australia. That's almost the reverse of here. So it's like, you know, with the wind chill, it's like minus 35 here. It's the other side of the scale. VK3DET, nice to have you here from Australia. Daxfar74, Happy New Year. Reed Sam, Happy New Year. Nice to have you here. How abundant is shortwave broadcast in general during the internet era? Well, the overall shortwave broadcasts, okay, if we take just the general shortwave broadcast, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff. It's just that it's being focused more on certain areas, like I was just saying. You know what? A lot of people say, oh, the internet killed shortwave, which is, for me, a nonsense, because I don't see anybody listen to radio on their internet connection. Almost no one. If that would be the case, we would see tons of people listening to radio on the internet, which is not the case. It's more of a money thing. I mean, it's just that the need for shortwave for some countries and some organizations is not important anymore. But in any area where there's still a lot of shortwave, and I read an article, I'm trying to remember where, I think it's on Spectrum Monitor, where somebody was mentioning in his trips to Africa how shortwave is alive and well in Africa. And so you got to remember that shortwave is a different type of medium than internet radio. Internet costs a lot of money to listen to an internet station, which a lot of people don't have. You've got to remember that around the world, a lot of people don't have the money to pay for an internet connection. And streaming stuff costs money. A lot of connections, if you have one, a lot of people have a connection that has a bandwidth cap. So that means if they go over a certain amount of data, they pay extra. So they don't want to stream radio stations. It's taking away some of their precious data. So it's, I think it's more of a thing of it's a different point of view, I would say. I would say some people are leaving, some organizations, some countries left shortwave, more for the, I don't know, you know, in the times of the Cold War and of all these major events, it was kind of important to have some kind of voice that people listen to. And there were a lot more radios, a lot more people listening in also probably than today. Even though there are hundreds of millions of listeners across the world that listen to shortwave daily. It's also a question of, with, you know, the Cold War gone, and there's kind of not of that need anymore to voice yourself to other countries or around the world and tell the people who you are. It's very it's very unique, and I don't blame the internet for the demise of or the slowdown of shortwave, because it kind of is a different thing. I think the number one thing is money, and you know, we've seen a lot of stations try to stream on the internet and abandon because they noticed, hey, we had listeners on shortwave, we don't have any listeners on the internet. You know, but there's still overall a really good number of broadcasters. I mean, if you look at the EIBI space list of transmissions, there's a lot of transmissions on shortwave. There's still a lot of stuff. It's just that it's focused in areas now that have more listeners, potential listeners, like Africa and Asia. It's moving at different places. And I think what shows that shortwave is still alive is, well, when you look at, you know, Seacrane, if you look at Texan, look at these companies that still make new radios and have new shortwave radios. I think it's just telling you that it's alive and well. It's just changed a lot, and a little more difficult to listen to because of the noise around us. Buster Brown, hey there. I just logged into the IRC chat. Sorry, I forgot about that, and it's open now. It's there. So Brother Stare is gone, absolutely. So it's much more quiet on the bands, and really has changed. Really has changed. So really nice. Bobby Burgess says Pirate Radio has been rocking the ionosphere. Cool. Sergeant Illinois Sam, nice to have you on board from St. Louis. Pretty cool. Mike DeVita, nice to have you here. Yes, Johansson, nice to have you here. Brown sugar, yeah, it's pretty much brown sugar. Oh yeah, I do agree, Valtz, that rum would improve my Coca-Cola a lot. I have none of that here, so it's just Coca-Cola right now. Which, and you know, flat Coca-Cola isn't the best thing in the world. But hey, that's what I got. What else do we have? What else do we have? So yeah, Brother Stare, Full Welsh is off shortwave. It all started with, you know, the allegations of sexual misconduct and so on. He's been arrested, and I think there's a mix of a lot of things that meant that he was leaving. So he's kind of off all the frequency. He was still a little bit, and I got a few of you that actually asked me, what do you think of? You know, the stations that still broadcast Stare? You know, when somebody is accused, as he is, of sexual misconduct and all of that, I do think the best thing would have been to shut off the transmitter for that program throughout Christmas holiday. Scan the band a little bit. Notice there was a lot of Brother Stare moanings moments on the radio still there. Some on WRMI. And yeah, of course, you question that side. You question, well, how you know what makes you keep him on the air after all that we learned. But now he's definitely gone from all stations right now. So it makes the shortwave bands quieter, and even though there's still some Jesus stuff, there's less of it, or whatever is left is maybe not as bad to listen to as Stare itself. Yeah, shot of whiskey, or yeah, I wish I had something to put in there, but I'm keeping to keep you guys up to date why I'm not drinking, because I got a nice gift from Fastload. Fastload was here on you guys know Fastload from the chat room, was here on Christmas Eve party. And he brought me a nice box called Half a Meter Beer. It's Belgian beer, and it's very beautiful package. And I will drink these beers only for the live radio shows. What happened is on Chris, on New Year's Eve, I was at my brother's, and everybody was sick at my brother's. So they all had that intestinal flu thing. So they had that bug, and I crossed my fingers that I would not get anything. And on January 2nd, I started, like, it was crazy, and I started really feeling bad. And even today, while I'm doing the show right now, my stomach's doing these strange noises. So you see that it's still not 100% okay. Although today I feel really good. I felt really bad for a couple of days. So that also was in my decision of maybe it's not a good idea to have beer today. And I'll wait to be okay before I get beer. SG2 East Nebraska, nice to have you on board from the IRC chat. It's 17 Fahrenheit and cloudy. 4 inches of snow. Here we had about 4 inches today, and we probably have 1.5 feet, at least 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. And we're supposed to have more in the coming days, so we're going to have... we had quite a lot of snow, actually. It's like a regular thing. It's been really cold, and we had these snowy days. Every 3 or 4 days there was a day with snow. So it's really white outside, and it's really, really cold. A really cold Canadian winter day today. Ronald Sukela, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And thanks for the vids on the utility beacons. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting because it's one of those things that I like to do sometimes. Propagation, propagation beacons or all the beacons. It's kind of cool to DX those, and especially they're so low power that when you hear one from far away, it's kind of cool. On the 10-meter band, I remember getting a kick off of listening to a Italy beacon on the bottom part of the 10-meter band at 28 megahertz, and just thinking, wow, that thing is like 1 watt, and I'm hearing it from like Naples, Italy, into Montreal, and it's like, wow, this truly amazing. Daniel Wiley, nice to have you here, Daniel. I'm gonna put this a little bigger. I've got my old eyes trying to strain at reading the chat. So here we go. Manboy, good evening. Nice to have you here. Southern Illinois Stan says, just got here. Have you discussed Brother Stair Crazy Life yet? I heard he is on WWCR because the contract was before the rest. Sick man. Yeah, but I don't know. Is he still? Anybody heard him on WWCR after the 1st of January? I really I haven't heard him. I haven't heard Stair since after the 1st of January. Luke Skywalker in the higher C chat says, hello, I see you're using a huge monitor with your SDR radio. Can you please tell me the size, and would you go bigger or smaller in a perfect world? Does it tax your graphics card? Is it a 4K display? No, this is a 3-year-old TV, so it's just a HD TV, 1080p HD. It doesn't have 4K. This is 50-inch, and personally, for my living room, because I sit at the other end of the room, I would have at least a 60-inch next time, or more. And it works really well. I'm at maxed resolution of what is it, 1920 by 1080. Works really well, and no, it's actually, you know what? It's powered by a very, very low-grade graphics card in a desktop computer. That graphics card is like the cheapest thing that you can get. It was part of that HP computer, and I mean, it's junk. It's really a junk graphics card, and you can see how it actually works. So you don't really need that much power for the HD stuff, for the SDR stuff. Sorry. So but a better graphics or better GPU would probably be better. But works nice, and I actually like it. Really like the the output, the 50-inch of SDR is kind of cool with the waterfall and everything. And it's fun, you know, because get in your living room and you just, you know, listen to whatever you want to listen on the radio. It's kind of fun. So really nice. Randall Klontz, nice to have you here from Chicagoland, 9 degrees Fahrenheit. We're below. We're at minus 20 Celsius, so it's about, what, minus 5 Fahrenheit or something. So Happy New Year, Free Saxon. Joseph Ivankovich, nice to have you here. Says he started a radio show on WBCQ on Tuesdays, 1 hour UTC, 8 p.m. Eastern. Keeping it real variety show. Absolutely no problem, and I'm glad to mention your show also if people want to listen in. I like the fact that people actually have their you know, take the time to do a show on a station like WBCQ. So thank you very much. Absolutely, if you want to mention my channel in the live shows, I'd be delighted that you talk about my stuff. And hey, I'm happy if anybody wants to listen to that. Keeping It Real variety show, WBCQ, Tuesdays at 01 UTC or 8 p.m. Eastern. So hope everybody listens to that show. What frequency in WBCQ is it aired on at 01 UT, Joseph? If you want to just complete that. What else do we have? Let me go down faster here to try to get there. I'm a little far behind, so guys, I'm coming down faster. I'm just gonna go a little faster now. Okay, let's see here. So yeah, well, Southern Illinois Sound, you know what? It's like all of these things. These guys are guilty of all sorts of things, and they, of course, don't, you know, they wait until the cops get to them. Nirudin Mazari, bonsoir, bienvenue, bonne année, welcome, and he's wishing us a happy new year. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Yeah, let's hope that we have abundant shortwave signals in 2018, which doesn't necessarily look good, but it's not too bad. You know, it could be worse. So yeah, it's pretty. As Jerry says, my setup's pretty good at picking up stations. It's pretty amazing, I gotta say. PLF Radio says, I think with SDR.HU we can see in almost every location in the world what we get on shortwave. Oh, I'm having a blast on the SDR.HU website with all the internet radios from around the world, the SDRs around the world. It's really amazing. I love using these websites. And I love going to different receivers and seeing what they get at their area. Mickey Delmach, nice to have you on board from Western Canada. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, it's Sheldon Harvey's birthday, absolutely. I don't know if he's going to show up today, but it's true. Nice to have you on board. Mike DX has been listening 40 meters over the Christmas, New Year. And pretty cool to have that. Christy Xav, Happy New Year from Romania. Nice to have you on board. Vault says, I did listen last week to Radio Caroline over the internet. Can't remember any other station I have listened to recently, though. Yeah, most people that I've seen don't, you know. I listen to SDRs over the internet. And yes, I'm really far in the chat, so you guys, I'm talking about something 20 minutes ago. But I'm going to go a little faster here. But, you know, it's... I listen to SDRs over the internet. I like that. But apart from that, you know, the only thing I listen to over the internet is BBC NewsHour on my internet radio because I can't get it on shortwave most of the time. But if I do get it on shortwave, I'd rather listen to it on shortwave. Dax Farr says, shortwave cannot be hacked. Well, you know. Nicholas Milnes, nice to have you here. Says, looking on eBay for VHF, UHF receiver. A lot they want for secondhand. Yeah, a lot of them are expensive, very expensive, too expensive for what they are. So, Yeah, absolutely, Waltz. Instead of Radio Moscow, you get things like Russia Today on satellite TV and stuff like that. Absolutely. PLF Radio says Channel Radio International shortwave seems important. They have a lot of broadcasts because I think they are able to see the importance of shortwave. Leech Little, nice to have you here. What age are you? We have some young some young generation watching. I've seen some up to 15, 16-year-old watching this show. Matthew Kelleher, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. And yeah, as Fabrice says, at the end of net neutrality and everything. It's crazy. 15. We've had some 15, 16-year-old. So pretty cool. Barn Wave Shortwave, nice to have you here. Gene Scott gone too? I'm not sure. I think Gene Scott is still there. Wasn't he mainly on WWCR or something? I'm trying to remember which preacher is on what station. I don't really listen much to that type of show, so. Okay. Thanks for the Matthew Kelleher says he heard Stare on WRMI 9980 a couple of hours ago. Maybe it's, you know, contract stuff. They have to keep the contract going for some reason. And when the contract will expire and the money's gone, they'll just stop. Nicholas Huge, nice to have you here. Don't be sorry because you're late. Now Radioactive is talking about how shortwave can be too bad. WBCQ installing new antenna system. So, you know, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, really nice to have you here. Barnwave Shortwave says allegations regarding Brother Stare were all known in 2009, but nothing was done. It's been a long, long time since Brother Stare had these things going after him. So, you know, it's nothing new. It's just now it's kind of probably more serious. And maybe they've got more proof about what they need to prove in order to arrest him, basically. You know. I got a large bottle of Jack Daniel's Faces, some in your Coke. Yeah, well, I would say probably, yeah, why not if you would be here, but, you know. So anyways, what else? Let's go as fast as we can. So I can go here. What do we have? Fast load. Howdy, nice to have you on board. Mark Brando, hey there. Nice to have you here. Heard Brother Stare this morning, so confirms that he's still on the air. I just didn't cross his signal much. No, the Brother Stare is not a pirate signal. He's a preacher that has been caught with allegations of sexual misconduct. He's on like a gazillion shortwave broadcasts because he pays a lot of money to be on the air. But it's nothing illegal. It's just a preacher on the shortwave frequencies, for sure. What else do we have? Let's go down the list. Try to get a little more actual. F. Blassie, nice to have you here from Oakland, California. John Timkin, nice to have you here. Happy New Year. And yeah, a lot of people were kind of saying, hey, I miss your shows, I want you back. And feels good, you know. Got a few emails also during the holiday season of people just you know, letting me know how they enjoy my shows and that they wish it. Hey Ethan, nice to have you here on the IRC chat. So you know, it's kind of cool to have people, you know, tell you that they miss your shows when they're not there and everything. Really nice. 6205 apparently has something, so let's check it out here. Do I hear anything on 6205? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Let's check out one frequency here. I want to check out the lower frequencies. Sometimes, you never know, some pirate stations sometimes broadcast my stuff. So, see if there's any pirates here. or anything of. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of pirates. This is China Radio 5960.
So I didn't pay much attention on how ugly the smartphone is, how terrible he looks. Again, I've seen more.
China Radio International in English from Albania, transmitter side 5960, coming in here. Ralph Bender, nice to have you on board from Germany. Pretty cool. Radioactive says listening to New Orleans Facts on 12788 in Oregon. So cool. New Orleans 12788. Let's check it out. Can you hear it? It's there, but it's rather weak. Let's just put it a little down here. I'm still amazed of my reception of the Buenos Aires Navtex transmission the other day. I haven't tried it since. So, Bobby Burgess, when is the Voice of Shortwave announcement going to be? It's pretty soon to be, from before the end of the month. So, just preparing stuff, and with the fact that I was sick all week this week, everything would kind of crawl to a very slow down, kind of a halt here. So, yeah, Southern Illinois, and we had that news over the holiday season about that fire in New York. It was really sad news. There's also a lot of things. You know what? There's a lot of that was interesting. There's a lot of things happening in Iran right now with demonstrations, population going down the streets, and kind of saying, "Hey, we're fed up of what's happening." And I because we don't really have any really good frequency to North America for Iran, I used I think it was an Italian SDR, where I had a very, very good signal of the Voice of the Islamic Republic of Iran in French, and listened to their show about 2 or 3 days in a row, and it's just incredible how they just didn't talk about it at all, and all we could hear was anti-US, anti-Trump, anti-Western society, whatever things, and they never mentioned anything about it, for sure. So Nicholas Hughes says, I will be hosting a UK pirate radio station at 520 kilohertz on the medium wave bands, or you mean 5200? MDK2, do any local broadcast stations in Montreal carry BBC News? I believe in the overnight hours. There's the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, from like midnight to 6 a.m. They broadcast like a host of stations. But there's no, from what I know, there's no real any BBC News thing. The only BBC that I hear over the radio here usually is in the mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which is what, 1400 UT. There's the Vermont station, the Vermont Public Radio station in Burlington, Vermont on 107.9 that actually has a good signal here. And they have the full 1 hour BBC News hour at 9 a.m. and I often listen to that. But there's really not a lot of things like that. Dan 805, nice to have you on board from North Carolina. 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Never gets that cold here unless it's snowing and it's very sunny. And here it's, like I said, about minus 20. So, that's okay. Being 15, I got no problem with that. Yeah, Vault says time will fix that. Oh, yeah. Time does fix that type of thing. Oh yeah, radioactive. I think it is. Gene Scott is on the Anguilla station, the Caribbean Beacon. I I think he is there. Absolutely, you're right. Radioactive, for sure. For sure. Alexandru Florin, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. We got new names. It's fun to see new names. Really, really a lot of fun. What else do we have? What else do we have? Did you hear Antarctica on the 23rd? I think it was. Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything. And what was interesting of that Antarctica broadcast is that people used SDR receivers, one in Chile, which was very close, or much closer than we were here in Montreal, for example. And it seems nobody heard anything. So I kind of really am wondering if I don't know. I wonder if they were really on the air, honestly. So it's crazy. Well, it says regarding my illness, you clearly did not use proper amount of strong alcohol. I actually, you know what? I think it's the first holiday season where I drank so little alcohol. Didn't drink that much on Christmas Eve. Didn't drink that much. I did go through a full bottle of vodka within all of the holiday seasons. So from, like, I bought the bottle of vodka on, was December 22nd, I think. And I emptied the bottle of vodka on, I think it was on January, the day of January 1st. There was still a little bit left, and I thought, why not? So it lasted 10 days, which is still a lot of vodka, but, over 10 days it was just okay. Frank Celestino Jr., nice to have you on board from California. Happy New Year. And what do you think about the Texan 880? The Texan 880, not bad a radio. Seems to be a good performer and a good radio. I don't own one, so I can't really, give my personal appreciation or test of it, but seems to be a good receiver, for sure. The Prelude 976, nice to have you here from South Georgia. Pretty cool. What is there? So nobody did get the Antarctica broadcast, really. Christophe Barm, nice to have you here. Matt UK, nice to have you here. Neil Toon says, amazing signal from CRI in the UK on 5960. Yeah, you're closer than me, so it should be much better. So, yeah, that's there's a PL880, there's the S8800 also. Yeah, more expensive. What else do we have? Broadcasting at 530 kilohertz in 10 minutes. What else do we have? Let me just see here if I've missed anything. Jerry's listening to the OnTars Net on 3755 lower sideband. David Arden says, just looked at the 2018 WRTH, World Radio TV Handbook. And RCI is a broadcast in Germany on Sundays on 7310. Interesting. Yeah, they've had their, I believe, it's the broadcast of the mailbag, the mailbag show from Radio Canada International. What was the mailbag show? I know they still have that going there. It was there last year. Probably never noticed it. That's why now you're noticing it. But it was already there. I remember there was that broadcast there, which is kind of what's left of Radio Canada International, unfortunately. What is my 660 has just froze on. I might need a reset. One of the things, and somebody asked me the other day because he had a portable receiver and says he noticed that a few times during the holiday season his receiver was freezing up, and he was wondering what's happening. One thing to remember that's very important for any portable receivers: if you live like here, for example, okay, I've got we're heating with electricity, and in the wintertime the air becomes extremely dry. To give you an idea, I looked the other day, and because I knew it was dry, humidity level was at 20%, which is too low. We should have like 40%, 45% to be kind of okay in a house. So 20% is too low. So everything I touch, especially with this kind of sweater, everything I touch is I become a static electricity bomb. And what happens is, if you touch the antenna of your receiver, if you touch your radios, and you got some static charge, you can maybe freeze up the radio because the static gets into electronics and it just makes the processor go berserk. It happened on my laptop when one day I touched the touchpad, and there was a little zap of electricity, and I had to unplug the laptop, remove the battery, and plug it back because it just the keyboard and the touchpad weren't working anymore. And so you got to be careful in the winter time when you're heating your home, because it can get so dry that it's easy to zap the electronics around you. So every time you touch a portable radio or your computer, it's not a bad idea to actually touch a metal object or a grounded object. Often what I would do is, when I was in my office, I would often touch my ICOM receiver because it's grounded, and to discharge before I would touch anything else. But if you touch most metal objects, you'll kind of discharge yourself, and there's less chances you'll actually have your receiver blown up, because it's easy to actually kill the transistors at the output or the amplifier at the antenna with static electricity, and your radio becomes deaf because there's no more amplification of signals. So yeah, it was kind of to expect that what happened there, Southern Illinois saying. I would have been surprised that he could have gotten $20,000 from Shortwave listeners. Prelude 976 just recently acquired 25-year-old radio as a gift, Radio Shack DX390, which is equivalent to the Syngeon ATS 818. Works fantastic, in excellent condition. Cool, cool. David Arden says BBC News Hour, same time in Atlanta. Yeah, I think it's it's like over all the NPR stations or something, something like that. What else do we have? Cricket Ninja 5, Happy New Year, nice to have you on board. Casey Red Dragon, hello there. Weighted Cube, hello there, nice to have you here. Ethan Best, nice to have you here, says likes his PL880, although it's not very good on single sideband. How is it not good on single sideband? For example, if I had to give a negative side of my PL680, is that on single sideband the volume is too low. But apart from that, it's good. Chris Freitas, nice to have you here. Are you coming to the Shortwave, the SWL Winterfest this year? I'm planning on going. Will be my first time attending. You know what? I need to look seriously at that. I've had a very, very good offer from Sheldon. When I went to the CIDX barbecue last summer, Sheldon saying, "Hey, there's some place in the car if you want to join us and go to the Shortwave Fest and everything." And actually, it would be extremely fun to do a live show from there. But I'll have to check out what's the possibilities here for that. I will need to get my passport done. So there's a lot of things that I need to have done for that to be ready. But you know what? In March, I believe. It would be really fun. It's the Shortwave Fest has always been something that year over year I always thought that must be a cool thing to attend. That must be, and I always thought, man, someday I want to go. Well, maybe that's the occasion now, because I've got all the offers. Sheldon had offered me, a spot in the car so I can go down, because he's going down every year. He goes there every year, and I think that would be, first a nice big series of videos showing the Shortwave Fest, and me doing a live show from there also would be cool. So we'll check it out. We'll check it out. Leech Dose has got a question. If you choose a vanity call sign in America, do you require any digits in the 5 characters, or can the call sign be just letters? I believe there must be. I've never seen a call sign without a number in it. So I think you need numbers in it. Andy Tobin, nice to have you here. Says shortwave radio is my buffer until the CB radio DX conditions return. Keeps me occupied with radio listening, especially on the long winter nights. Yeah, it is cool. I've, one of the things that I wanted to talk about this year is the fact that we're in low solar activity, and so the high frequencies, we can't expect them to work often. I did a video on around Christmas. The Christmas holiday season that I posted about 10 meters, and CB was open, 11 meters was open in the evening, one evening, which was really cool. There was some sporadic E-skip around the east coast of North America, and so sometimes we have these moments that are kind of cool, but overall I have to say that we're really in the low solar activity this year. We'll be very, very low in solar activity. So we gotta kind of choose the lower frequencies. And one thing that I wanted to say, anybody that listens to WRMI on 11580 in the evening, just gotta say that WRMI is moving that frequency 11580 to 7780, and it probably has mostly to do with propagation. I mean, here since the beginning of December, 11580 has been kind of fading off around 0-100 UT. After 0-100, forget it, it's not there, and even before sometimes, which is sad because there's a nice lineup of shows. There's Radio Slovakia, Radio Ukraine, and there's all sorts of different shows that I like to listen to on 11580 depending on the days, but it's just not making it to up here in Montreal lately. So I think it's a good idea that they're moving down to 7780. So starting Monday, January 8th, everything that's on 11580 is moving down to 7780, which hopefully is going to bring a good signal here, and I'll be able to listen to the programs. Ringo Calhoun, nice to have you here. Says the only SDR I was able to hear the Antarctica broadcast was the one with zero background noise in the UK. It was very faint, but could hear the singing of Christmas carols. Okay, that's kind of interesting, because I've had so many people say, hey, I've listened throughout different SDRs, and of course I tried it here with the radio, which I of course didn't have very high hopes of listening to, because I mean, some like 15-20 watt power in Antarctica. I've got a high noise level. There was very, very little chance that I could hear it, but I did try it anyways, because you never know sometimes. But a lot of people tried different SDRs, didn't hear anything, so it's kind of interesting. Thanks for the report, Ringo. Jeffrey Kropp, nice to have you on board from frozen New Hampshire. Yeah, the east coast of the US, and eastern Canada is being pounded by a huge snowstorm. Here it left just about 4 or 5 inches of snow, but the east part's apparently really bad. So Matthew K says it's okay now. Press the reset button. Yep, cool. It often is just a reset thing. VA2XMX Petro, nice to have you on board. Bonne année, Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Nicola Hughes says, good idea, just touch your radiator and other grounded objects to discharge. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you know, in the summertime here, it's never a problem for humidity because it's very, 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 very interesting to see that, you know, we have tropical, almost tropical weather here in, you know, June, July, August. So it's humid and warm. So we don't have that problem in the summertime. But once you close all the doors and you start to heat up the room, you know, the heating lowers the humidity level. So it's really, really difficult. Hey, Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board. A happy birthday and a happy 2018. For sure. Okay, Ethan says it's a little deaf on single sideman. Maybe it suffers from the same type of problems as the 680. The 680 isn't necessarily deaf, but the low audio makes it more difficult to listen to weak signals. So it maybe has the same problem. Has anyone used a Bluetooth speaker with an SDR? Huh, that's an interesting one. Vianney Arsenault, nice to have you on board. Bienvenue. Sheldon just shared the Shortwave Fest. Pretty cool. And I wanted to talk about that, as he has posted, Sheldon Harvey, of course. There's the January edition of the CIDX, Canadian International DX Club Bulletin. The Messenger was published yesterday. And it's a great Canadian club, but it's not just for Canadians. It's a radio club for everybody. I mean, it's very inexpensive, $10 per year. And you can get a free sample copy of their bulletin to just send an email to cidxclub@yahoo.com, and Sheldon will be happy to send you a sample copy, show you what the bulletin is all about, and if you wish to subscribe, become a member of the Canadian International DX Club. Once again, not just for Canadians, it's international in nature, and it covers a very, very wide range of subjects, not just the shortwave spectrum, but it has everything about amateur radio, shortwave, VHF, UHF, utility listening, equipment reviews, point of views of different things. It's a great little publication, and why not join in? And one other publication I wanted to show, which actually started in the new year now, is the Spectrum Monitor, which is a great magazine also. If you guys have been ever subscribed or ever had Monitoring Times, this is Monitoring Times. It's good. It's even better, if it could be better. This is the January edition, so $24 a year they ask US, and I subscribe, of course. I subscribe every year, and this is the January edition. The cover, the January edition, they are looking at the Whistler TRX 1 and 2 reviews, the Sea Crane Skywave Shortwave reviewed by Thomas Witherspoon, AirSpy HF Plus also, and tons of really cool stuff that you can read in there from different people that are knowledgeable in the field of radio. So why not check it out? It's a great magazine, $24. It's electronic publication. You cannot subscribe for you cannot subscribe to any paper publication. It's electronic. And it's not to subscribe because they don't subscribe. Well, you know, if you subscribe in July, you've subscribed to the full year of 2018. So you have access to the January, February, and so on, because it's easier for them to just manage that like that. So it's better to subscribe now, because your subscription always starts in January of every year. It's simply because it's easier for them to manage. So, and it's a great magazine. I mean, I couldn't, you know, just let it go and not subscribe, because it is very interesting. There's a lot of nice stuff in there. A very nice article on Sportic e-skip propagation. Really, really cool stuff. So why not check that out for sure. Nick Amendel from Romania. Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Bobby says, been missing RAE Argentina and Roller Radio 93.95. Yeah, I haven't heard, even 93.95 has not been going on. It's barely there. I noticed there's a weak signal sometimes. But the propagation in the evening, winter evenings, has been horrible. Horrible. Fabio says 77.80 is a good for idea for Europe also. Matthew Kelleher says, it's interesting to see what vanity science people choose. Katie Allen from that ham show on WBC Q5130 with the YL side of things is WY7YL. Oh, this is nice. WY for Wyoming. Pretty cool. So usually that number, but you know, today you can't take that anymore. I mean, before, when things were very strict, you know, the number and the call sign were always saying, well, you're a station from that area. And when an amateur radio operator moved, they had to reapply for a call sign because they had to have the call sign of that general area in the US or so on. Today, it's all a mix-up. So amateur radio operator moves from New York to California, and he's still a W2 or, you know, something like that. K6YYL, hey Kimberly, nice to have you on board from California. Neil Toom says, Voice of Turkey plus 40 dB on 5980. 5980, do I hear it? Let's check it out. Yep. With Turkish pop, pretty good signal too, it's 9 plus 20. Right here, look at that DRM signal here. That's a DRM signal here on 6930. Unfortunately, I need to install Dream on this one to try to decode it, because I would try it right now. I don't have it. We'll have to do that. So 5980 with Turkish pop, 5980. Voice of Turkey really coming in well here too. Pretty cool. Catwoman's, nice to have you here. YL's United. Doctor, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. PA1WX. Pretty cool. JD Williamson, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So, what else do we have? Somebody was playing with a Chromecast. What was your answer about using Bluetooth speakers with SDR? Well, I don't really have any answers on that, honestly. Calvin, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? What else do we have? Did I miss anybody else? Say hello if I miss your name. We have Rock. Let me just go back here. We have Rock Ristorante. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Greetings from Sweden. SM0SBT. Pretty cool. Nice to have some Swedish viewers. Pretty cool. I use a one of my favorite SDRs, software-defined radio, on the SDR.hu website is the Swedish one. It's very sensitive and it's very, very low noise. Just love tuning around from Sweden, seeing what you guys receive over there. It's really cool. Really cool. Ralph Bender says, I just subscribed to TSM. Very nice articles. Yeah, absolutely. Great, great magazine. Absolutely. So, pretty cool. Brett Wayne, KC2NXP, nice to have you here. TLT, nice to have you here. Was at Mexico for 2 weeks back now. Pretty cool. So you went to the warm and you're back in the cold. Pretty nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Matthew Kelleher, Zanzibar, 11735, signing off. Soon I won't be able to copy it at all, but it was nice today. Cool. Cool. So, yeah, 6030 is Romania. Romania. Where's the exit cat? Patrick Manny, nice to have you here. He's sleeping in the bedroom. I've played. He's been. He can't go outside because it's too cold, and there's a lot of snow, and he hates it. So he's been really asking me to play with him a lot these days. It's pretty crazy. And he's got this new game. I'm working on something, and suddenly what he does is he comes and he, with his paw, he kind of attacks my leg. And when I look at him, he runs away. And it's really a game. You see that? It's like he wants to play. So I get up and he starts running around the house and he hides under the bed. And then when he sees that I ignore him, he slowly comes around, and when I see him, I just get up and he starts running like hell. It's just so funny, and it's just so cool. It's fun to see, you know. That's like there's some action with the cat. It's really cool, really nice. Vianney says received a minimum of 15 inches of snow in the last 24 hours. Wow, that is nice. We've had we've had like really you know, just like two or three you know, inches here and there every 4 or 5 days, but there's definitely white and it's definitely winter. Montreal's at -30. Montreal is at about -20 Celsius right now, but it's very windy, so they said with the wind chill it's like -35 right now. It's really crazy. Yeah, I got a litter box for DX, absolutely. But it's funny because the litter box, in the summertime, it doesn't use it. So as long as it can go outside, he doesn't use it at all. So I can, like, if I put the litter box, you know, like in May, if I change it, you know, I change it regularly. But if I change it, say in May, he's not going to use it until, you know, it gets cold again. Or very little, you know, maybe in days that it's raining a lot and you can't go outside, but apart from that, you know, and every time that he wants to go to the to poo, he actually asks for the door, but then he realizes it's still cold outside, so he goes to the litter box. So now he's been using it a lot lately. He hasn't really gone outside. He went outside for about an hour yesterday, but he was sitting in the stairs. It was just funny because you have a lot of snow, so he doesn't go anywhere. But he sits in the stairs and he looks in the backyard and he wonders, you know, probably thinking, what's that white stuff? Hey, you're watching the Shortwave radio show, and this is our first show of 2018. We'll end the show at around 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 22 UT, because of my last engagement for the holiday season of a little supper at a restaurant with some friends. So basically, it's just I'm sorry for doing this, but starting next week we'll be back at the regular schedules. One thing I wanted to say about the live shows, by the way, we will, for those that have seen the schedule, and those that maybe have not, every Friday shows will be here at 2000 UT. But the last Friday of every month, the show will always be about VHF, UHF stuff and satellites. And it will be on the VHF, UHF channel. So I'll bring that back to the VHF, UHF channel, which I intend to try to make more videos and more stuff. You know, lately I've posted a lot of satellite videos. So basically, a lot of people that were on that channel said, oh man, it's nice to see you posting again, because, you know, it was sad to see that you weren't really posting anything. So I see there's a demand for people on the VHF UHF channel to post stuff and talk more about that aspect of the hobby. So I'm gonna try to, you know, post regular videos and go back into that. But I gotta say, it's now it's gonna be like that. So every Fridays we have the Shortwave show. Last Friday of every month will be the VHF UHF one. So for example, this month, January the 26th, we will have the VHF UHF satellite, amateur satellite show, and so on. So I think that's going to be interesting. As for the Saturday show, no show tomorrow, by the way. Our next Saturday shows are going to be Saturday the 13th, Saturday the 27th. These will be our Saturday shows, so that's going to be interesting also. And hope that you enjoy our shows. Taking this time to just do a little self-promotion. If you want to help me out, one of the ways that you can do so is through PayPal at paypal.me/shortwave. Or if you can't get this because for some reason some people it doesn't work, just go on PayPal and send it to this Yahoo email that you see here. Or become a patron at patreon.com/radioandcomputers and join 8 patrons right now that are supporting me every month. And it really helps me, especially like right now, January, where monetization is, you know, December was one of the best months in a long time, and January is starting very, very crappy. Slightly better than, you know, I was comparing the first few days of January. It's still a little better than January of last year, but it's still extremely crappy. So anyways, your support helps me a lot, helps me continue and doing the live shows. And I want to thank you all for your donations. I want to thank everybody that have donated through 2017 regularly. And, you know, your support means a lot to me. And it means a lot to me because it helps me continue. But also it means a lot to me because, you know, somehow it means also that you consider that it's a value. It's something that, you know, if people donate, it, you know, it kind of shows me that, well, if you donate, it means it's kind of important and it's something you want to, you know, want me to continue to do, and it's important enough for you to give a little something. That means, wow, okay, you know, it's kind of cool. So thanks everybody who have donated. Don't worry if you can't. I totally understand. Not everybody can donate, and you know, I'll do like I always do. Try to call out to the first time donation. You know, you've been watching this show for years, you've been enjoying every show, you've been here all the time, and you've never given anything. Why not, you know, do a little something? PayPal is very easy to create an account. You don't need a credit card. You can, you know, link it to your checking account and give a little something. Like I said, it helps tremendously. And in this new year of shows, well, you know, I probably wouldn't be here anymore if it, or I would be here very, you know, in a very, very light schedule with not that many shows if it weren't for the help that all of you have been giving me. And I want to thank you for that. Okay. So, Voice of Turkey, we'll tune a little bit the bands and see what's there. Propagation on the low frequency seemed to be pretty good. And that's pretty much what we had. What else do we have? What else do we have? My litter box that I have here is one of those. Actually, I need to buy a real litter box and buy the scoopable litter stuff. Right now, because he didn't use the litter box a lot, I would buy these already made litter boxes that you just remove like the paper on top. They have everything in it, and you just change it every, you know, week and a half. They cost like $3. So I would use those because, I mean, once it's gone, I throw out the litter, and the plastic litter box goes in the recycling bin. So they recycle it. But now that he's been using it a lot, I've been thinking of maybe getting a nice litter box and buying the litter and everything. Maybe it would be better, especially because the litter box that you buy, it's not the scoopable stuff. So it's kind of, you know, when he goes there, it's like, yeah, okay. So I think it would be better off if I'd buy all this stuff. So I think I'm going to do that. So what else do we have here? Brett Wayne says, close the town. Haven't had a day off in weeks. Pay is nice. Well, you know, I think there's a lot of people that even here in Montreal are making a lot of money with that right now. So Sheldon has shared with you guys the weather for Montreal. If you guys want to see what the temperatures, remind yourself that these are in Celsius right now on that page. That's the type of weather. So right now it's minus 20, and it says that the wind chill is minus 34 right now. So just give you an idea. And the conditions are light snow and blowing snow. And it is light snow and blowing snow. And we have an extreme cold warning in effect for Montreal. Shows you guys of how cold this is. So it's going to get warmer though, minus 2. You know, on Tuesday, minus 2, that's going to feel like summer after what we just went through in the past couple of weeks. Time to go to the swimming pool. So it's amazingly cold, amazingly cold. And I'm so surprised because here, when the temperature drops to about minus 25, I have a the possibility of the water pipes that freeze, and it didn't happen yet. And we did go down to minus 27, 28 some nights, but I kept a little bit of water running all the time. So yes, Bobby, I did get your money. Absolutely, thank you very much, Bobby, for your support. It's always nice, and thank you very much for your generosity. K6YYL Hell says, I am on QRZ, but not all hams want to be listed there. I have heard some hams asking to be removed. You know what? I've been hearing more and more complaints. You know, one of the things that I noticed about QRZ.com is that what I used to like to do was, when I first found out QRZ.com a few years back, when I would listen to amateur radio operators that were in very, very far away places, what would happen is that I would send an email, because you could see the email, and that email would, of course, you know, they answer back, and they would find it really cool, you know, that the shortwave listeners listening to receive their station and everything. And some actually send me QSL cards, EQSLs. Some people actually even told me, hey, give me your postal address, I'm going to send you a QSL. But after about a year, I saw the emails were removed. And it said, well, now the emails are going to be shown only to people that are amateur radio operators, and nobody else. Now, let's be clear. I understand why the emails were removed from the page, because today there's bots, these computers that just scan web pages in search of emails to spam you with all sorts of junk. Not counting the fact that probably some of them were trying to, you know, pirate or hack into the email accounts. So I kind of understand, okay, but it's sad because then, oh, no more emails. But the funny thing is, if you install, because if you're on Android, there's the QRZ.com app. That is an app that you can actually install. So if you install the app, not only can you search for, you know, stations, you actually get the email on the app, which is kind of funny because it's not visible on the page. But lately I've seen more and more AMs that ask to have only the basic info, their name and where they are, the country, nothing more, not the full postal address. So, but more and more hams are being asking actually to be removed, absolutely, which is sad, you know. At the least, just, you know, just ask to be in with the minimum, you know, your name and your country or something. So, you know, I've never heard, at least, of any hams that have been, I don't know, that had any problems because all the info was there. But you know, I don't know. I really don't know. What else do we have? What else do we have? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. So, PLF Radio sharing the solar flux 69. That's kind of low. K index of 1. Yeah, it's kind of chilly, absolutely. Is Montreal dead when it's cold, or do people still go out to bars? Montreal isn't dead when it's minus 30. There's still tons of people downtown. There's still tons of people everywhere. It's here. We are the city of, you know, it. You'll have a blizzard. It'll be minus 30, and you'll have people in bars and restaurants. You'll have people downtown. A lot of people downtown. Yesterday I was downtown, to give you guys an idea, and it was kind of cold yesterday evening, and there were tons of people everywhere. It was crazy. It's like, you know, and here we have, and you've got to say also that going downtown Montreal here is cool in the winter. For one thing, we have a huge underground city, so you can actually go, you know, if I wanted, I could. So to give you guys an idea, I just go to the corner of the street I live here, and I'm almost at a metro station, a subway. So I could just walk to the end of the street just a little farther, get into the subway, and from there I could go and do my groceries, do some shopping, eat something at a restaurant, and never will have had to go outside, because there's a underground city below the city. And in the wintertime it's cool because it's like, it's that huge it's kilometers of you know, of shops and of restaurants and of all sorts of stores everywhere. It's like you can walk underground for hours and not even have gone to the same place twice. And it's very, very cool because in the wintertime it's minus 30. Well, it's like, hey, let's stay underground and do our things there. One of the ladies that I would fix her computer downtown, where she lived, she would live in a, you know, really expensive condo place, but she would take the elevator, go downstairs to the first floor. On the right side there was a little door. It had direct access to some stores, and from there she could take the subway. She could, you know, go underground to other stores and other places. So she was telling me how happy in the wintertime she was, because she would just leave her condo just wearing a shirt, go downstairs, walk into the stores, and just take the subway and go downtown and do her grocery and everything. And she would shop, she would do her grocery and everything. She would come back home in the wintertime without never having to step outside in the cold, which is kind of interesting. It's a very unique thing here in Montreal for that. Minus 32 Celsius is minus 25, 26 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's cold. I can tell you it's cold. So really pretty cool. Nicholas Stewart says, testing on my Sony ICF Shortwave 12. Can clearly hear my music broadcast. Cool. Cool. Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have here? Brad Wayne says, been very cold in Salamanca, New York. Lots of lake snow too. Yeah, you guys have that going for you guys. That the Great Lakes creating that lake snow effect, and also probably there must be some lake snow effect also coming off the Champlain River, which is pretty big body of water, and but you guys have a lot of that lake snow effect. Somebody's calling me. Obviously, somebody that doesn't know I'm live. What else do we have here? P. Alfredo, can you access the emails on QRZCQ website also? I'm going to check it out right now. So if I go to QRZCQ.com, which is a alternate site to QRZ.com, and if I put a call sign in here, say here, what do I got? I've got no info for most stations. So no, it seems to be very basic information. I don't really see any emails. I don't know if the emails are there, or maybe I gotta log in. I've never logged in, so maybe if you log in you get some, but I don't see emails right now on QRZCQ at least. So that's another site, QRZCQ.com. You're alright for sure about the app. Yeah, the app actually gives you all the information. Gary Stephenson, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. And so he's a ham WW80, and gonna look him up on QRZ WW80. Let's check it out. And I'll try the QRZCQ at the same time. So QRZ.com, and what I like about QRZ.com is that there's a lot of, some have really beautiful pages with lots of info. So here I gotta log in. So I'm gonna log into QRZ.com. Here we go. Okay, successful. So let's check out WW8. Oops. Clicked on something I should not have clicked. So W80, and yeah, Gary Stephenson. Nice. With nice little details of who he is, and certificates of all sorts. Nice page. I like it when there's a lot of pictures and a lot of information on the AM stations and who they are, and it's really, really nice. So if I try QRZCQ with the same call sign, WW80, I get your name, get a little more information, but yeah, no emails or anything from here. The equipment used. Okay. Last 10 DX cluster entries in the last 72 hours. So a little bit of information. It's nice. Kind of nice. Excellent DXer. Nice there to have you on board, Keegan, in Northwest Arkansas. 51 Fahrenheit, sunny. It's much warmer than it is here. Take care, Radioactive 73. It was nice to have you on board. Yeah, you can put a P.O. box, absolutely. That would be a good idea. Absolutely. You know, one of the biggest problems I think about the email thing also, you know, Brett Wayne says in my emails is mycall@gmail.com. I think one of the biggest problems with that is the fact that the email a lot of people, you know, I see that a lot in tech. A lot of people don't realize that you can have more than one email. So there's too many people that use actually their personal email for their for their amateur radio stuff or whatever other stuff they do. And then they get pissed off because they get all the spam and all the stuff, and they're like, well, you know, I will not give my email anymore. But it's that you can just realize that, hey, if you're an amateur radio operator, why not create a specific email just for that, so that it separates your hobby from your personal life. You know, I use that a lot. You know, I have official shortwave radio for the shortwave stuff. You know, or easy computer fixes, or help with your computers at gmail.com. You know, I have things that are related to whatever I want to do with it. And my personal email is only for specific things, personal things. So, you know. Catwoman says iPhone has a QRZ app too. So, yeah, I think there was an iPhone one, absolutely. George Plummer, nice to have you here. Says 8992 is active today with probably what is EAMs or emergency action messages. I haven't heard one in a long, long time. So it's kind of interesting. What else do we have? What else do we have? Try tuning 530 kilohertz. See if you hear Mr. Blue Sky ELO. You know, here it's barely, the sun has barely set. So I don't think I'll hear anything with that. I'm in Montreal, Canada. I'll have to lower this because it's kind of... all I hear is static. The closest I get is... there's something in Spanish on the 540. And there's the 600 news station playing music. Whoa. Christmas music again. So, you know, I don't think I'll hear... I can't really DX that much also on the medium wave band. I got a very high noise level, personally. So, yeah, I'm in... thanks to Sheldon for sharing the underground city of Montreal. It is really something. It's really something. I mean, lots of stuff to do there, I can tell you that. And I like that. It's, you know what, the Montreal underground city is kind of cool to so it tells you here 33 kilometers of tunnels, 43 indoor parking, 2,000 businesses, 500,000 people per day go there. And I mean, especially in the weekdays, a lot of people working there. It's full of people. So, you know, kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Yeah, when we get at Fahrenheit and Celsius, it's the same at minus 40, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Nicolas Hughes. So, Captain Dan Van, nice to have you here. Says Montreal, a favorite city. I'm from Whitsunday Islands, Australia. The heart of Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Cool. 38 Celsius there. That's too hot for me. I mean, as much as I don't really like minus 30 or minus 20 Celsius, I wouldn't be happy at 38 degrees Celsius. RRI, Radio Romania 6170. Let's check that out. Here we go.
Finally expanding borders of Japanese diplomacy, they run at the same time asserting our close coordination in connection to North Korea and other pressing issues facing the international community. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said. Coming on Health Minister Florian Bodog was heard on Thursday by the Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism as witness in the case where reputed neurosurgeon Mihailo Khan is accused of embezzlement. Krishna Milbok was subpoenaed in the same case. Both Florian Bodog and Emil Bok have denied any involvement in the case. We'll revert to this topic later in Radio Newsreel.
So, Radio Romania coming in quite well, 6170 kilohertz, booming in. KC9KUH, nice to have you here, says 6170 is booming. Cool. Cool. Down Brown, nice to have you here, KQ4VM. From YM, sorry, I saw V. YM. From La Belle, Florida, 59 Fahrenheit. That's kind of cool for Florida, 59 Fahrenheit, though. So what else do we have? Pretty cool. KC9QH has been really enjoying his SDR play, his first SDR radio. They are nice. They're really, really nice. That's for sure. I need to get one at some point to really check that out. Ronald Mullis, nice to have you here. Good evening. Envious of your show. In ice conditions, guys, only a torrential downpour in Edinburgh, UK. Envious of your snow and ice, sorry, not your show, your snow and ice. Well, you know, we each have our own problems with the weather, I guess. It's really crazy. Really crazy. What else do we have? Oh yeah, it's crazy, Brett Wayne. When you go there at like 5 p.m. when everybody stops, you know, ends their work day, it is totally crazy the amount of people there in the downtown underground area. Vianney Arsenault says strong signal of 6170 kilohertz. Cool. Using his FT817 for reception today. Nice. So Rock Ristorante says, want to inform you that Radio Caroline has been on the air, 648 kilohertz. Not sure if you can hear it in Canada. Power is only 1 kilowatts. Yeah, probably not here because of the high noise level, but maybe somebody close to the East Coast. Richard Cook, nice to have you here. I hope I said it at the beginning because you were here at the beginning, but I'll say it again. Oh yeah, it's your birthday coming up. It's true. 7780 kilohertz. WRMI, what's the signal? It's there, but it's not very strong right now here. It's like 7780 for WRMI. So kind of interesting. So let's check out here. What else do we have? So no shows tomorrow. Just wanted to say. So we're going to be in 2018. That's one thing I want to talk about. Low solar activity. We're unfortunately in the next couple of years we're going to be in the doldrums of this low part of the solar cycle. That means there's going to be an effect on the shortwave propagation. Lower frequencies are going to be privileged. So as we are right now, for example, in the deep days of winter, you know, it shows in the evening maximum usable frequency drops really fast. But I've been enjoying quite interesting propagation. Let's say below, you know, below 7 megahertz. 49 meter band hasn't been that great. You know, 49 meter band has a lot of had been a lot of weak signals lately. Even Romania, which usually does make a really good signal here, at 0200. Been very, very weak. The French language Radio Romania that I sometimes listen to at 0200 has been almost inexistent. It's crazy. So, you know, try to listen to the lower frequencies for now. As the days will start to get longer, they are starting already to get longer, but as the days get longer, slowly will have more and more of an effect. You know, I like the springtime and the fall, like, you know, which I always find is kind of one of the best times for listening to radio. As we're going to slowly approach February, we're going to start seeing changes in the propagation and higher frequencies will slowly come back. But with the low solar activity, one of the things for sure is that we will have a lot of the propagation going below, even in the summertime, it's going to go below 20 megahertz. Maximum usable frequency won't get very high unless, of course, there'll be sporadic E-skip, stuff like that. What is to be checked out a lot in the low time of the solar activity is, remember that the sun isn't set at a level and that's it. Even in low solar activity, there will be times when sunspots will appear from time to time. Will rise the solar flux, will rise the maximum usable frequency. So we got to hang on to these moments where the sun will kind of come back to life for a couple of weeks and then drop back to the low end. Let's hope that the low part of the solar activity this year or next year isn't too long. The last solar minimum was longer than usual. So let's hope that it's not going to be too long. But definitely we're heading to, I mean, we've been really having almost no sunspots in the last month or so. Little sunspot here and there appearing, but almost nothing. So we got to live with that. I mean, and one thing that somebody asked me that I found a very interesting question, by the way. Somebody asked me, have you noticed if stations go off the shortwave bands more when solar activity is low? And that is an interesting question, because if we put in perspective, stations might want or leave shortwave in times of when they don't get much reception reports, for example. I would guess, and I wouldn't be surprised, that station correspondents could maybe follow solar activity. So, in low solar activity, when some stations are harder to hear, they receive less letters, and in high solar activity they receive more. And I wouldn't be surprised that some stations left in the times of low solar activity because they said, well, no one's listening. But in reality, your signal's not making it. That was it. I actually started thinking about it much more. I was like, Bobby, 11580 will be changed to 7780 starting Monday, January 8th. Starting Monday. Jenny Asano says 7780, not bad. Variable signal. Not too bad. Take care, Mike DX. Take care. What else do we have? Red Wing says 160 meter band is nice in the winter. I was hearing, there's this gang in the northern state of New York that are almost every night on 1850 kilohertz and this 160 meter band, lower sideband, and they've been really strong lately. Really amazing, I can tell you that. Their signal's been really good. Matthew Kelleher says Spain is on 9690, huge signal in Denver. They were there at the beginning. I don't know if they're still there. Can I still hear it? Yeah, it's still there.
Bueno, Juan, no es que se han pasado todo este año,
Radio Marti on 9565. But look at that, very quiet. Very quiet 31 meter band. Let's try, let's check the 41 meter band. So we've got some weak signal there, 73, 75. Radio Romania, not as strong as on 6170, but on 7310, 7310.
Insisted on the relationship between Bucharest and Washington and on Romania's role as a contributor to security. On July the 11th, 2017, Romania organized a state.
What else do we have? Some activity in the amateur bands. We can see all the little spikes of Morse code here on 7000. What else do we have? Anything else to listen to? Let's check out the 49 meter band. Let's start at about 5800 to 63. So this will be pretty much the 49 meter band here. So we've got 6195. Of course, I think is the Voice of America, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just go here. And EIBISpace.de. 6195 at this time, I believe, is Voice of America. So 20, yep, 21 to 22. Voice of America from Sao Tome in Africa.
There is also a good level of cooperation.
Radio Romania on 6170.
At the same time, the Romanian Foreign Ministry will continue to use all available tools.
Turkey on 5980. China Radio 5960. It's been there's a few signals, but it's not, there's not that many compared to what I'm used to sometimes. Kind of interesting. And one of the things we did see, and seems to be at the end, the Volmets, the stations that give the weather for aeronautical purposes, really seems like New York is gone. Shannon, Volmet in Ireland also seems to be gone. Basically all I hear now is Gander, which is on its regular frequencies. Let's see if I can hear it. I don't know if it's on right now. So Gander on 6604. When it's the time for Gander weather in Newfoundland, they're still on. I hear Royal Air Force Volmet, very weak right now, from the UK, Royal Air Force, but I think it's the beginning of the end for many weather stations. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Matthew Kelleher says RRI doesn't make it to the Western North America, that I can tell. I got them only faintly last winter, and the same this winter. Same with Voice of Turkey, even though both have 49 meter night broadcasts. That's the problem with the West Coast. West Coast has a lot of difficulty. Here it's an easy pick. Turkey is an easy pick. Romania is easy. East Coast, we have that lucky side to it. But I often see reports of people in the West Coast saying, hey, I just can't, get Romania or get Turkey or get all of these stations you get from Europe or, And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest problems for the western part of North America. Mark Brandos says, just enter Radio Romania quick shortwave report with a SIMPO of 55545 in Wisconsin. Pretty cool. And, one of the things I think that everybody should think about in 2018, take the time to write your favorite shortwave station. Take the time to let them know you are listening to them. It's very important because it just happens. It's too easy to just do nothing. And if you're not writing, they don't know you're there. So it's very important to let them know that you are listening. Take that 5 or 10 minutes and write them an email, or send them a little snail mail. Let them know. It's very important to let You know, if a lot of people complain about, oh, stations are going, and I'd be interested to see, and all of the people that complain, how many actually wrote to a station? How many actually did say, oh, I write that station regularly to let them know I'm a regular listener and I like their programs and so on. I can tell you there's a lot of complainers out there that don't write. And if you complain about a station going and you're not sending in a reception report, not sending any letters, well, stop whining, because you are part of the problem. Stations don't know you're there. And if they don't know, or if they think there's nobody listening, why the hell do you want to, you know, spend thousands of dollars on transmitting a signal to an area where they don't even know somebody's there? So it's important to let the stations know, and take the time to do so. You know, I always do it regularly from time to time. I wrote to a few stations in the month of December, and you know, just talking about it now gives me the idea of writing in to a few stations now. Why not? I'll write into Radio Romania. I'll try to get them tonight and write into Radio Romania. Let them know I'm listening. So, you know, why not in this new year, and the idea of trying to keep the spirit of shortwave alive, why not write your favorite station? Let them know about the programs, what you like, what you don't like. They want to know what you don't like, by the way. You know, I get some people saying, well, if you tell them I don't like that, you know, they're not going to send you that QSL, or it's like, no, stations aren't like that. Stations want to know what you like and want to know what you don't like. You know, I'm not a fan of Romanian music, but that's me. And some people do listen to Romanian music. I am a fan of when they talk about Romanian life. They have that series where they talk about when Romania in the past, when it was in the communist era. Things like that I find super interesting. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that that I find really, really cool. But take the time to write your favorite station. Do that in 2018. You know, it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time. And you are letting a station know that, yes, shortwave is still alive, because there's still some listeners out there. And we got to work as much as we can to keep that. I haven't heard Pyongyang in a long time, Richard. A long, long time. But I did hear that 6400 kilohertz station from North Korea on the, I think it was on the Italian SDR the other day, which was kind of cool. Matthew Keller says, I'm going to write both Radio Romania and Turkey and let them know that they're a lot worse in the winter than summer here. Unfortunately, you know, it's one of those things that they don't have a lot they can do. You know, honestly, Romania, you know, being in the 49 meter band, there's not much more that you can do. You can't go really lower than that. And propagation is crappy with low solar activity. Doesn't help, you know. There are stations that don't work. You know, one station that you know, when you say, okay, you know, I just said, write the station, let them know you're listening. That's your part of the effort of helping a station, letting them know you're there. But the stations also have to do their part. Now, Turkey and Romania kind of try to do their part. They change their frequencies. They're probably doing their best that they can right now, because even at the East Coast, Romania has not been very good right on 49 meters. But there are stations that don't actually do zero effort. And one of them is KBS World Radio. You know, why the hell you keep 15575 as your main frequency to North America year-round? And I get tons, you know, I listen to their mailbag show many times. You know, I've got the KBS app here, and I've listened to them on my phone because I just don't hear them on shortwave. And the funny thing is, they are wasting money. They are just wasting money, because they're on 15575. that already in the summertime is a difficult one here because, especially now with the low solar activity. But in the wintertime, forget it. 15575 is zero signal here. And in their mailbag show, I hear tons of complaints of, well, 15575, I don't hear anything. And why the hell don't you do something about it? I don't get it. You know, might as well shut down that transmitter and pay some airtime on WRMI. Why don't you do that instead? At least we'll hear you. Okay, it's not DX anymore in a sense that if you like listening direct from South Korea, which, yeah, is really cool, but now they're just wasting money. And it's a great example of, okay, we got to do our part and write to a station. And man, do your part. And please change your frequencies and try something. I mean, if I'd be KBS World Radio, I'd try a gazillion different frequencies, see if I can have a better signal. I mean, I'm sorry. You can send a signal to North America and have yourself listenable to that audience somehow. Don't tell me you can't. But by keeping just one frequency and not doing anything, yeah, you're not helping out. And you don't seem to really want to do any efforts or anything. And that is something that kind of, you know, pisses me off about stations. You're not doing an effort, you're not doing anything. What? You know, I hope somebody from KBS World Radio is watching. Because all I can say is, wake up. If you don't know how to operate a shortwave station, I don't know. No wonder nobody's listening and sending in reception reports from North America. We don't hear you. Wake up. Oh man, feels good. What else do we have? What else do we have? I'm ranting. I didn't even drink. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? I saw somebody here. M. Blair, nice to have you here. Frank Tillman, nice to have you on board from Minnesota. What else do we have? KC Red Dragon, hello. So, can I get Shannon Volmet right now? Nope, but they're off the air. Shannon Volmet is off the air. I haven't heard that in weeks, and I'm pretty sure they shut off the transmitter, just like New York did. So, and 6604 is only Gander. There's been New York has been gone for a while now. You know, just crazy. Just crazy. Two Hands at the Radio. Nice to have you on board. J.D. Williamson says something in French on 3955. And if you look at the frequency 3955 right now, what you are hearing is KBS World Radio. As we're talking about KBS World Radio, that is KBS World Radio relayed from Germany. No, from, sorry, not Germany, from the UK, from Wolverhampton, UK. So that's what you're hearing there. So why isn't there any relays for North America? I don't get it. You're trying direct and it just doesn't work. Might as well relay your signal. So, PLF Radio, is it faster to get an EQSL than a QSL via postal mail? Well, most stations don't have the EQSL, so most stations will QSL by mail. But you can send your email through, and they'll send you your QSL via postal mail. Just don't forget to put your full postal address when you send. So technically, sending a reception report by email does make it a little faster because your part is done quite fast, sending the report. It's better than sending a letter that takes a couple of weeks to get there and a couple of weeks to come back. And of course an EQSL is fast because if they have an EQSL, well, it takes, you know, a couple of seconds to be at the station, a couple of seconds to send it back. you know. Free Saxon says, complainers that don't do anything. That's so true of everything. Absolutely. It's every aspect of every hobby and everything in life is pretty much like that. So for sure. For sure. Mitch Keller says, actually I figured something out the other day. I think that further west we are, the higher latitude the pad between transmitter and QTH. I was wondering if the polar latitudes affects propagation. Yes, they do. The closer to the pole your signal is, one of the things that happens there is it's the high latitudes closer to the pole are much more sensitive to all sorts of things. They're more sensitive to the geomagnetic activity because that's where the giant magnet of Earth is focusing all of the energy and the particles coming from the sun. So just a slight solar wind and you already have some geomagnetic storming going on in the high latitudes. The fact that it also passes high latitudes means that the signal could maybe pass through a region that has total darkness 24 hours a day for a month or two because of the winter time. Or also remember that the higher the latitude, the lower the sun's angle, the less energy is on the ionosphere. That place doesn't support as well certain frequencies. Ethan Best listens to KBS in Spanish usually. So what else do we have? Yeah, you see Matthew Keller says, I've only ever copied KBS 15575 in June. That's pretty much the only time I hear it. End of May, June, early July. And if you look at Korea having difficulty getting North America, and I remember somebody saying, well, it's so far away. Like you're saying, Matthew, Radio Australia was here. It was a regular here. It's on the other side of the world, and it was a regular signal here, and there was a regular good signal here. So you want to, if you do an effort and you want to, you can broadcast. Bobby Burgess says, I've been catching the mighty KBC for quite some time and listening to them on the internet stream. Yeah, they've been having a very weak signal. The last time I heard KBC was, I think, just before Christmas. And it was very weak. Very weak. Well, it says, wouldn't be too surprised that it's exactly that. Old guys are retired. New ones have no idea how to operate. Totally possible. Totally possible. There's just no effort anymore, and maybe they don't know what to do. I often see reports when people send in reception reports, knowledgeable shortwave listeners, and saying, wouldn't it'd be better if you use that frequency at that time? We've noticed that frequency is empty, and maybe you could use that. It's kind of fun, kind of funny when you think about it. Fabrice says, used to catch Shannon 24-hour loud and clear. Now only get a very weak signal. I don't hear it at all. I don't know. And a lot of people are not hearing it much. So, Daniel 05 is listening to WWCR 6115. Let's check it out. It's coming in. Yep, pretty good signal here. Well, I think that's their Studio DX thing, that DX show in Spanish. Jerry says, Captain Dave on tonight, 3843, lower sideband, about 03 UT. Cool. So, yep, I do. Absolutely, Bobby. That's what I was just about to say. Fabrice Simonet said, distance is not the biggest factor. Sometimes I can get Radio New Zealand up to France on XPL 320 ET, 310 ET probably, and the whip antenna. Yep. Absolutely. Richard Cook received Tag 1 in French a few days ago. Cool. Cool. So, hey guys, I will have to go because I have a commitment, my last commitment of the holiday season. Remember, you can help me out with donations. And I'm sorry to have to do a very short show today, 2 hours. For a lot of people, that's a long show, but for you guys know that for the Shortwave show, it's very weak, a very short show. So thanks for your donations, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Sorry, Danny, Shortwave Radio DX, just joining in as we're leaving. Nice to have you on board. Happy New Year also. Very cold in Montreal also, about minus 20 Celsius. And here it's going down to about minus 15 overnight. With the winds, it's going to be like minus 40 wind chill in Fahrenheit. It gives you an idea. So, hey, take care, everyone. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for being great fans. No show tomorrow, remember, so we'll be back with the radio show next Friday. And remember, we are starting the regular week of shows, so starting Tuesday. Starting Tuesday, we're back with the Tech Show and Windows Insider Hour Show, which was on Thursday, will be in Tuesdays after the Tech Show. And of course, Friday we have our regular shows. And next week we'll have the Saturday show. Judd Simon, take care, my friend. Always nice to have you on board. And yes, I'm working on something. There will be an announcement soon. So hang in there about broadcasting on Shortwave. So take care, everybody. Thanks for being great fans, and hope you enjoyed the show today, even though it's a little short. So see you next week, 2000 hours UTC. This show is every Friday, 2000 UT. We talk about radio and have a lot of fun. Thanks for being great fans. Thanks for being there. I've got to go because I've got a little engagement here with some friends. We'll have fun tonight. No alcohol because I still have that, probably what's left of that intestinal flu bug or something. So take care, everyone. Thanks for your donations. Thanks for everything. See you soon. Take care, my friends. And see you next week, probably.